Twitch doesn't think that I actually have a game running, so let me just update that real quick. We are technically playing Pokemon Go, even though I'm not doing any of the emotions of playing Pokemon Go, but since I took the time to set up those clips, I can at least show gameplay and not be totally bending the rules, I guess would be a way to put it. With all that said, I think we're about ready to go. So, how are we doing today? Just to lead things off with. I think I realized that there's some new fashion wardrobe stuff in the store, so I might as well try them out. So yeah, the shirt is free, but are we getting a free hat? Oh my lord, they actually gave us a free hat. This is probably the biggest news I've seen of this game all week. Oh no, I'm kinda wrong. We had all these event hats in the past, like the Magikarp for Water Festival, Mimikyu for Halloween. There's been free hats. I think of some of the other accessories that I'm not thinking of. It just feels like it's been ages since we've last had a free hat. There's always been a free shirt. I didn't even think about it. Wow, I look like a total tool right now. Hey, gamers! Welcome to the Gamer Facts, where only the truest hardcore gamers come and game. I am Hardcore Gamer 555, aka JackitK, and I am here today to talk about the world of Pokemon Go. Obviously, the most hardcore game that is talked about on the interwebs. All that aside, welcome. This is the Pokemon Go Fireside chat where I just chill in Pokemon Go for a bit, talking about the latest news that happened in the game and talk about some experiences from those events that happened throughout the week. How about we get right to it? Because I feel like I have more to say, but I am forgetting about it. So, pretty recently, as I'm streaming, recording this, we had a new event go live just the other day. There's a new event revolving around Psychic-type Pokemon. Honestly, it seems like kind of random thing to do. Niantic claims that it was in celebration of Mewtwo being in raids. But however you want to look at it, Psychic-type Pokemon are appearing everywhere, even places where it's not normally windy weather. And with it, there's a couple new research tasks that have gone up with it, along with a new shiny and changes in spawns. As you may guess from the name, the Psychic type Pokemon event has a lot of Psychic types spawning around, specifically Drowsy and Abra, but honestly almost just as frequently I've been seeing Executes and other Pokemon like Spoink, and other things that can pop up include Baltoy, Routes. Apparently Beldum are also spawning in this event, but I'm not sure if that's just my news source making that assumption because Beldum is a Psychic type. Because that would be a little weird considering that in a couple weeks we're going to have a community day revolving all around that particular Pokemon. And along with all these new spawns, there is a new shiny in the game, and that is of Shiny Drowsy. It is definitely a unique shiny, which is kind of sad because Drowsy is kind of one of those Pokemon that I will transfer the instant I get it, no matter what. I tried keeping it around the past, but I'm just not really interested in it anymore. But the shiny is really unique. Like, instead of the yellow-black combination it has, pretty much has a set of color combination, different shades of red. And you know, if you just give me a sec to pause, I think I'm just gonna pull up this link so you can see for yourself. So BRB. As you can now see, On screen here, we have a new shiny in the game. And for those of you who are listening, it's pretty much as I described before. Pinkish on pretty much color divided by the swirly line that Drowsy normally has. The yellow is now pink, and the black is now red, even for things that isn't the bottom part of his body, like its ears. Its ears are pretty much like a velvety purple red. And the top is like a whatever would normally be yellow, I should say, is kind of like a pink. So it's one of those shinies that even without all the new stuff that they added to make shinies a lot more distinctable, you'll still be able to easily tell that it's a shiny because it's literally a completely different color. While I'm on here, is there anything else that I wish to talk about? Oh, I missed this piece of news. No, I think that might be data mine related. This is why I research in advance. Unfortunately, I feel like I have to mention it now. But I was just reading the article here, and it talks about how found in the code of the game, there's some sprite changes for Ditto, like its shiny form was finally found in the game. But in addition, Pikachu and Raichu's with that particular hat, which I'll get to a little bit later. It's worth noting that just because it's been found in the code in the game does not mean that it's going to be showing up in the game anytime soon. There has been things put into the game that have not shown up for a very, very long time. So that's why I'm usually hesitant to talk about leaks or just data minings, because we can theorize and we can feel pretty confident of when those things are going to be in the game. We do not know for sure. And I was gonna glance over this, but I might as well bring it up. There have been a lot of conventions going on this weekend, and Niantic's been pretty thorough with actually putting up unknowns in those places. The ones that I've heard about specifically were New York Comic Con, up in New York City, and the unknowns there spell NYC Comic Con. They're also in Milan, Italy for Games Week. And there's also unknowns in the MAG convention in Europe, Germany, spelling MAG. And that's all I'm going to go into this article, because the rest of it seems to be talking about teasers and stuff that isn't really official yet. So I'm going to just glance over that, because there was something else I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, there's a new set of raid bosses. As per usual with events, they swapped around the raids a bit. Mostly with the fact that all the Kanto stuff is gone, minus the stuff that typically shows up in raids, and your usual raid rotation is back. Mostly. They have added a few extra psychic types to fit the theme of the event, but most of it is that typical raid rotation you know and love. For the level 1 raids, the one thing that stands out is Drowsy. This is, as far as I know, a brand new raid boss. Nothing remarkable because Drowsies are everywhere, but hey, if you got a free pass to burn and you want a good chance of, you want to ensure that if this is going to be the one that's your shiny, that's at least good IVs, then I guess you can burn a raid pass that way. And the typical Pokemon of Magikarp, Metatype, and Wilmer are all showing up in level 1 raids as well. And they have shiny versions going around as well. Level 2 are typical fan favorites of Executor, the non-alone variant. Krylia and Mawile have been all showing up in level 2. And I can't believe I just said Krylia's been a long-time favorite. Wow, it's already been that long since Krylia was first introduced into raids. The one level 2 that I believe is new, though, is Slowbro. If Slowbro has been in raids in the past, it's been a long time. So, there is all that to look forward to. As we go into level 3, for those of you who are worried about missing out on the Lone variants, I'm a little sorry if you haven't gotten a Lone Executor yet. I don't know how you're... because that's not in the level 2 rotation, but it seems like every other Alolan form is back, including Alolan Raichu in Tier 3, along with Alakazam, which fits the theme, but has been in pretty much every standard raid boss rotation. He's only really been missing for special events. Starmie, which I swear is not new, but I know we haven't seen in a long time. Jinx, who's been in a couple raids but still fits the theme. And Claydol, which is kind of in the same boat as Jinx, minus being a lot harder to take out. At least if you're soloing. Tier 4, we have good old Alolan Marowak back. Houndoom, which will be pretty useful for taking on Mewtwo raids, but even more useful is Tyranitar. And Absol, this one having the shiny variant, like it typically has. I also forgot to mention Mawile has a shiny variant, and that these two Pokemon have only appeared in raids, so there is that. And last but not least, Tier 5 is still exclusive to Mewtwo, and Mewtwo will actually be around for a while, so I believe we definitely got until past October 21st. So he'll be around during Community Day too. I think the exact date is October 23rd, but we'll go into that for sure when I go into the newer segment of timestamping alert. And one thing that I almost overlooked, and I'm a little late to report on it, but it's out of state, so I'm mostly just talking about it because for the novelty. Last Thursday till Monday, November 5th, there was a Pokemon Safari Zone up in Titan, Taiwan. As in usual with the whole Safari Zone, there are unknowns as well as other Pokemon that you normally don't find commonly in the wild. They usually have a region exclusive or two as well, and this time is the Pokemon Relican. A pretty exclusive because as far as I know, its region is New Zealand, and just New Zealand. So this is a pretty good way to actually get it if you can fly to New Zealand, but somehow could fly to Taiwan or live in Taiwan. I think I mostly wanted to bring it up for that. And that's all I really got on my list of things to cover. So I think it's about time that we can go into some experiences that I've had. But wait, I think I almost forgot about a segment that I introduced in the audio only sections. I think you guys are going to be in for a treat though. Just gotta pull up one more app, so give me 1 millisecond. Actually, unfortunately, seems like it's going to be one of those weeks where Go Ranger doesn't want to load right away. It's a really amazing app, and this is the only issue I've really had with it. But if I recall, they do have a web version of their app, so I can just pull on that on my computer and go through it from there. Assuming I actually pull up the right thing. Now I'm gonna just show you guys what I mean. It'd be really sad if I had to drop the segment the first time I did it live, just because it's not loading up properly. Okay, here we go. It just took a long time to load. Okay, Alex. For you guys who are looking and just looking, this app is called Go Ranger. If you search that on the Android App Shop or iTunes, you should be able to find it. It's a really handy pocket app which pretty much gives you any information you want to know about the game within the game itself. Okay, now that I did that, I think I can actually go over the details. But since they started Pokemon Go Ranger, hashtag not sponsored, is a really handy app that, as you can see, allows you to see how long various events, raids, and migrations are going to last, even giving you a minute to minute countdowns. So you don't have to worry about time zones messing up your time. You can also set up checklists. I've had one set up for the shinies I find, any perfect Pokemon, lucky trades, and you can even customize your own list if there's something very specific you want to track, like tracking the raid bosses that I solo in this game. So I've pretty much, whenever a new set of raid bosses come along, add some new Pokemon into the custom checklist, and I use it to check off whenever I do a level 1, 2, or 3 all by myself. Granted, it's not a complete list because I feel like some of the raid bosses we've got in the past are too much of a legacy, and I'll just add them in as we need it. It also has this whole field guide section, which tells you what Pokemon are currently in the hatch rotation, the raid bosses that are in the area, Pokemon that can pop out a research task. So I forgot to read it out, so this is a good time to go over the new research tasks they added for the Psychic event. For example, if you catch 5 Drowsies or Abra, a Jinx will come from that research. If you find a 10 evolved 10 water type research text, it's worth holding on to because it's got the rare Pokemon Dratini. Not specific to the Psychic event, but for the whole water month that this is going for. And I could have sworn that there was... I probably just scrolled by it, but there was some other interesting field research tasks. Like, I think like if you, one that's for catch 10 psychic types gets you 1,000 Stardust or something nuts like that. Oh yeah, where's the raids? Because on top of telling you what's in the current raid rotation, if you click on it, it gives you a general guide. It tells you the CP range, an approximation of what counters to bring to use against it. So overall, it's a really useful app. Yeah, I know. As for the actual point of the segment, time event countdown is just me reading through the activities in the Go Ranger app, tell you how long things last. For one, that random thing where they threw Pikachus as right at the start of the Psychic event, apparently is a lot more limited than I thought. Just a little disappointing because you actually could get a shiny of that hat Pikachu, and it's like only one of 2 that you can get a shiny form of. That will be ending in exactly 19 hours. It ticked down as I was reading it off. For those of you still hunting for regionals, you still have to go to 7 kilometers eggs. And you'll stop receiving eggs that have Kanto Pokemon inside of them within 1.5 days. 1 day and 19 minutes. The second event itself will last a little bit over 7 days, so about a week. Mewtwo raids continue another 16 days. So yeah, October 23rd, what I was thinking of was correct. Suicune research ends at the start of next month, so 25 days from now. And the next set of nest migration is going to happen in 10 days. So that's the main rundown with the Go Ranger app. And with that out of the way, I think I can go into my experiences of the week. And once I do that, hopefully I can actually go over a new segment I want to do. But I may have to cut the stream a little short because everyone's home and starting to get loud, and I'm already a little concerned about that picking up on the mic. But we'll see how it goes down. So, unfortunately, I still have a bit of bitter luck with actually doing Mewtwo raids. So, I think a lot of my finds are gonna just be in regards to all the routes I found and these darn Pikachus. I did actually do a Krylia raid right at the end of things. And I did get a cool AR shot of Suicune, if I could just find that real quick. Man, why did it go back? Alrighty. This is one of the many reasons why I'm hesitant to do things live. I don't know why this stuff thing is in October. But I guess I could talk about some raids that I soloed. Or I could just skip to some of the more eventful stuff. I guess I can give you guys a preview of one of the raids that I soloed. Essentially, I did routes. Well, of course I did a routes raid. That's not remarkable. I did an executor raid, but I tried to make it a little challenging by just using the bottom of the barrel bug types. You know, I'm just gonna skip right over to the other raid real quick because I forget what it was. Oh yeah, I think it was against a Mawile. But the interesting about it was that I was able to do it without legendaries. I'm gonna be uploading these to YouTube eventually. I think I just want to edit them first, so I was able to take down that weather boosted Mawile without using any legendaries on the team. Did get my first Suicune of the month and got this nice AR shot. Would have been a bit more amusing if it was. It's a bit of a joke too, because just like it's a Suicune and is known for filtering water, so of course it'd be at a coffee shop. That's the joke. It's a terrible joke. This is a stubborn one though. I did actually solo an Alakazam raid. Unfortunately, it took me several times, and this is not the clip of me actually soloing it. I got cocky and thought I could solo it without using any legendary Pokemon, so I tried this first setup just using my Gengars, plowing through them as quickly as I can, and finishing up with my Tyrantars. When that didn't work, I went over to my Tyranitar and made my team focus around that. Unfortunately, that, while close and valiant, was right down to the wire. Actually, I think I have an attempt that was even more down the wire than that, but the second attempt, I had just a sliver of health left on, said Alakazam. And I could just talk about how close it was, or I could just show you how close it was. Very close, like, I would say if I powered up my Tyrantars a bit more, I would have done it. But I'm level 40, and so many of these Tyrantars were already maxed out, so I don't know how much more I could do. But I was eventually able to do it with leading off with 2 sets of Mewtwo's. Little sad that I wasn't able to do it without going into the legacy Mewtwo's that you can't even get anymore, but I was able to do it. And it was the first time I've soloed this particular raid boss. So it's something to be proud of. With how close I got with Tyranitar in the past, I think I might be able, just need to power up my team a bit more and maybe practice if I get the opportunity, and I'm sure I can non-legendary solo this thing sometime in the future. Again, if you're interested in seeing the full clips of me soloing raid bosses, I do upload them onto my YouTube channel. So you should be able to find it there. Like, and this reminds me of all the salty sadness that I have in my life. Yeah, I can't really complain about my luck with Mewtwo, even though I'm about to, because he's a toughie. I'm right there in the boat with you guys here. I was lucky enough to have them have a gym, become an EX raid gym, pretty close to an area that I would normally walk, so I was able to get a few Mewtwo's back when they were EX rays. And I'll admit, I am internally grateful for that. I just wish that luck kind of transferred a little bit more when Mewtwo became a normal raid boss, because with it everywhere and all the opportunities that I know to actually do Mewtwo raids, I was hoping that I at least be able to get a few more in than I actually have. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Unfortunately for me, it just seems like whenever I do see a Mewtwo raid, and for some reason I have bad luck finding a Mewtwo raid, there isn't enough people to do it. Yesterday was probably the worst example of that. I've been having bad luck at the college that I would normally go to along my way home from work. Like, usually I can find a group for any raid there no matter what, but today I saw two Mewtwo raids. And no one just showed up. Like, I'll admit I got to the first one, tail end of it, and we got maybe like 3 people, but probably 4. But it wasn't enough to actually be able to do said Mewtwo raid. I felt like we need at least 5 people in order to confidently do it. And for the second one, I thought I was being smart for the second one, and actually got there before the egg hatch, but I made the mistake of going to a gym that no one would want to go to because it was out of the way. And I waited like 15 minutes after hatch and nothing was there. Oh, that's the thing, Alice. Normally that's what I do. I have Facebook groups for at least 3 different areas in my 3 different towns in my local area, and normally they do the trick. Like, normally they've allowed me to do a lot of raids. Like, that raid group was probably how I got the Mewtwo's I did get before the event. And granted, during Community Day, I got myself a lot of Mewtwo raids. That's the thing. During Community, you might have missed that podcast, but during Community Day, I was lucky enough to have 3 Mewtwo raids show up during that time frame, and there was a group of people for each one of those. So, if you're on the hunt for Mewtwo, I would recommend. It's kind of tough because I know Beldum's going to be a rare Pokemon, and you're going to want to actually go get as many of them as possible. But if you get tired of Beldum, just hunt for a Mewtwo during that time frame. If it's an area that normally gets a lot of people during Community Day, you should have a lot of luck actually finding the people you need to do a Mewtwo raid. Heck, maybe you can get there an hour or 2 before Community Day starts. You'll probably have a bit more luck actually getting people there, either before or after Community Day, because with the last one, Chikorita wasn't exactly the most exciting Pokemon in the world, so that might have been why people were willing to stop their grind to actually do a raid for a Mewtwo. So you might want to actually just try doing raids before and after Community Day if you can afford to do so. If you can find the right area, I can almost promise you, especially if you have a Facebook group, you can find an area where there's going to be a lot of people for Community Day, and inevitably, they're going to want to do a Mewtwo. Back to my unfortunate luck. So there was that, I believe, I can't remember if it was this week or the previous week, but I had some unfortunate times with Mewtwo raids. where I was out of town, so instead of heading straight home, I decided to drive around, posting chats, and see if any Mewtwo raids were going on. Found a couple, but we could just not get a group together. There's only like 200 people that were actively responding, maybe a third, but I lost sight of where that third person ended up, and we could never get that. Oh yeah, there is a community day coming up this month. October 21st is a Beldum Community Day. Actually, I could probably just take a minute to go into the Go Ranger app, scroll down, and it actually gives you a countdown on upcoming events as well. It starts October 21st. Since I'm in the Eastern time zone, that's going to be at 2 p.m. But if you download that app, it'll tell you exactly when it starts in your time zone as well. And for those of you who missed the last podcast, there's going to be a special gimmick about this community day. Hopefully one that sticks around where you can wait up to an hour after community day to evolve your Beldum all the way to a Metagross and still have it have the special move. That's a very nice quality of life feature. And I hope it's a quality of life feature and not just a gimmick. Speaking of gimmicks, Pikachus with hats! Yay! Because the community loves those. I really don't want to hate on Pikachu because the hat I personally think is dope. But it's kind of hard to defend it when... oh, the irony when I think about it. The community has been in an outcry for so long, asking Niantic to expand the max amount of box space you can buy. And whatever side you may be on, and that whether you think there's no way you can use that much storage and run out, or if you're in that boat, you gotta appreciate the irony of Niantic actually tweeting out and saying, we acknowledge that there's not enough box space in the game and we are working on a solution. 2 days later, we introduce a Pikachu with a hat. Good old Pikachus with a hat. The lovely things where, unfortunately, I already transferred all my Pikachus with a hat, but you have to actually, you can't mass transfer them, and you have to go through at least an extra step, probably 2. It definitely feels like 3 extra steps considering you can't mass transfer them. Good old Pikachu with a hat. I feel like there would be a lot more outrage over you if it wasn't for the fact that you were going to be so short-lived, and for the first time ever, they released a shiny of a Pikachu with a hat the same day. The first time that the Pikachu with a hat went around. Now, was that all the experiences I wanted to talk about? Or was I just going to spend another half hour being salty about Mewtwo? Let me just scroll through all the Pokemon I've been catching lately and make sure that I'm not forgetting anything. Gonna talk about Suicune. I've been doing trades, people, and I decided to actually hold on to the trade fodder. Just in case for during the Halloween event, because we've had an event revolving around Halloween the past 2 years in a row. There's no way they're not going to do it. Everything's just lining up too perfectly for them to just pop up a Halloween event at the end of Community Day. Point being, yeah, I'm saving... Whenever they have a Halloween event, there's always extra candy to go around. Like, every activity gives you extra candies. Whether it be transferring Pokemon, catching them, hatching them, and now all events... I'm sorry, outside. Wait, they what? You're going to have to clarify that a bit. But I'm just going on a tangent with how whenever Halloween comes around, they've nerfed a lot of events over the years, but one event they've never nerfed is Halloween. That's one thing they've been able to consistently keep at the overpowered levels that these events are at. So yeah, it is speculation. I think there's some maybe data mines out there that pretty much confirm it, but I haven't looked into it myself. I just got a strong gut feeling and a common sense of patterns that we will be having an event for Halloween, probably, if not right after Beldum Community Day, then within a week of it, where we're going to get a lot more ghost Pokemon spawns, and we'll get extra candies for all sorts of activities like walking and catching and even transferring. I'm personally hoping that they also double the candies you get from trading, because that was the big feature of the trading event, and that should be worth holding on to Pokemon. Oh yeah, the shiny Pikachu. I'll be honest, I only found out a bit myself when they announced the. I only found about it when I was looking through the news. But yeah, apparently, those Pikachus with a hat have a potential to be shiny. I think I've seen a couple people randomly on the internet post their shiny Pikachus, but besides that, I haven't really seen anything in person or in my local community. So it's probably about as rare as a typical shiny could be. And is that all I want to talk about? I guess I could. I've been holding on to some field research. There's some interesting things that came out of it. And yes, I did get the Spinda of the month. And not really too much else. Just want to pull out that, yep, this is what the new Spinda looks like. And I would actually. I do got a new segment I want to talk about, so instead of catching these live, I'll just throw out a clip for you guys, because I want to actually look at my notes for this, and I'm worried I'd be a little bit too distracted if I don't look at said notes. So, you guys will have to let me know, since I'm doing it live, if you like it, but I'm thinking every week for this podcast, minus maybe the minis if I run out of time, I want to do a new segment called Diamond in the Rough. You hear people talk about what to bring to raids, the best Pokemon in the games, and all that, but not everyone has access to the best of the best. And there's some underrated things that people might be passing up that are decently common if you just know where to look. Diamond in the Rough is a segment that I want to introduce where you can actually find a fairly useful Pokemon in a decently common place. And with Mewtwo still going on at raid bosses, I want to give a little shout out to Alolan Muck. The evolved form of Alolan Grimer, aka that thing that you've been getting out of your 7-kilometer eggs, while trying to hunt for those regionals that bring you a lot of heartache. But if you don't have a full team of Tyranitars, or other Mewtwo counters such as Houndour and Cypher and Pinsir, you may want to quickly appraise that Alolan Grimer before you release it, because it could help you balance out your team or act as a filler if you go through your main party. The reason I would recommend Alolan Muck for this situation, like I kind of implied, is not the best of the best for a Mewtwo counter, but it's decent to have as a backup, especially if you run out of the main recommended counters. Just make sure that it has double dark moves, which means either if you have access to TMs, feel free to TM it up. But if you don't have access to TMs, only worry to power up a Grimer that has said moves. Excuse me a sec. How do you get Alolan Grimers? Out of those 7-kilometer eggs, those eggs that you get from gifts, they're everywhere. And it's very important to note that you want to use the Alolan version of Muck against Mewtwo. You don't want to use regular, because regular Muck is a pure poison type. and Alolan Muck is Poison Dark. Now, you're not going to be getting the resistance you would out your other dark types, which is a big reason why it's not as used higher up there in the raid counters. Its poison type will counteract its resistance to the psychic moves Mewtwo may have. However, its typing is really unique and makes it only weak to ground type moves, so you have a pretty slim chance of actually getting a Mewtwo with Psychic with how many different movesets Mewtwo has out there. So if you have a Mewtwo out there with Psychic moves, well, take care, Alice. That's fine. This is pretty much the last segment anyways. As I was saying, Mewtwo has a wide variety of moves, so the odds of it having both a Psychic Quick move and a Psychic Charge move are a bit small, so you may have a possibility of actually resisting the move Mewtwo has, or at least not taking super effective damage. No matter what the Mewtwo has, you'll at least not be taking super effective damage. As for long-term use, it's going to depend. It has a very specific niche of being used against Psychic types that have moves that are normally resistant to Dark or Poison. But it has been pretty interesting to see in the main games on the competitive scene, so it's possible that when PvP comes out, you might get some use out of Alolan Muck, especially with its ability to resist. Well, that's all about I have today. So if you like what you see, be sure to like this on whatever form you're listening it to. Or you could just give a thumbs up if you're watching on Twitch. I don't mind that either. As for where you can watch this elsewhere, I have a SoundCloud set up, a YouTube channel for videos, including videos I make outside of raids, and so much more. Best thing I would recommend you do is to check out my website, which I will have in the description of everywhere you see this at, and you can navigate through the site to the Pokemon Go section to see the various places I upload the Fireside chat to. While you're there, you might want to check out the other sections and see if I do any other content that strikes your interest, and follow me on those particular platforms. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see more from you all in the future. It's a pretty nice lively chat that we have going on today, so thank you all for tuning in. For those of you listening in post, I do these live streams once a month on twitch.tv/JackitK. Excuse me, I've been rambling my voice for a bit, so I know that it's getting a bit dry. And that's all I got. I'm probably forgetting something, but it can't be that important. And I didn't even go through all my research tasks that I've been stockpiling up just as filler for gameplay. For anyone, that'll do it for the stream, but if anyone wants to stick around to do a raid or anything, just ping in the chat and I'll find a raid target. And even if you don't, I'm gonna just quickly open up another browser and see if any of my friends are streaming and we can raid them. If they're not streaming, we could probably